How's everyone doing today? Going to be going over cross-docking today. So mainly going to be going over what is cross-docking, the process for creating a cross-dock PO. Then we'll be reviewing any useful rules for helping out with cross-docking. Again, if you have any questions or anything pops up during this webinar, feel free to post those in the chat or the Q&A section, and I will take care of those as necessary as they pop up. So first off, what is cross-docking? Cross-docking is essentially the process of when dealing with orders going out to customers, instead of having those shipped directly to the end customer, you have them ship it to your internal warehouse or your storefront, so you can repack it or potentially add in other items. Maybe you add some promo items or things like that. But essentially, cross-docking is used for any reason where you want to essentially catch an order and have it go to your warehouse for repacking and then reshipping out to the end customer. That could be supplier based. Maybe some suppliers don't allow shipping to end customers where they have to ship to your brick and mortar. A lot of times we'll see certain suppliers limit brands that way, where maybe there's some higher end brands that they don't, for whatever reason, allow to drop ship to the end customer, and you have to ship them to your brick and mortar, your warehouse first, and then you can ship them out. Another useful case for this is international orders. A lot of times maybe you'll have a better international shipment rate, shipping out from your own warehouse. So to save a little bit of money there, instead of having it ship out, you'll have it shipped to your warehouse and ship out. Or in a case where the supplier, your source, doesn't offer any sort of international shipment methods, that's a way for you to expand your market into internationally there, and just have those orders shipped to you, and then you take care of the end shipment from your warehouse to the end customer. So let's take a look at what this looks like in Flxpoint. So I've got a few orders here for some items that I know I want to cross-dock here. So the main thing that we want to look for cross-docking orders is you need to have a PO generated for that order, so we know who the recipient supplier is of that order. So it needs to be unprocessed, but also has a PO generated for it. So you'll see up at the top here a cross-dock PO section. So you just want to go ahead and click on that. And here you'll be able to see any of your current cross-dock orders, but we want to go ahead and create a new one. So we'll go click Create New Cross-Dock PO up in the upper right corner. Then we have our whole UI here to walk through. So I just, like always, just start at the top. You manually enter in the PO you want for this cross-dock order. So we'll just go for some random numbers there for this use case. And then the from source. So this is the source. So if it was an order that you pulled in, say from your sales channel, you generate the PO. This is who the order is going to be submitted to. So I have some orders going to CWR by US Direct that I want to take a look at. And you'll see when I select that supplier here, it pops up with a shipping method on the left-hand side. So this is essentially how you want to have that supplier ship that, or that source ship that order to your warehouse or your location. And then the to source, this will be your warehouse where you're shipping it to. So one other thing, this does need to be created as a source here. And another useful thing that makes things a little bit easier for you, when you have this source created in Flxpoint, you want to have the address information filled out here, because when we go to the cross-dock section, select that source and shipping method. When I choose the to source, you'll see I can already automatically toggle off, just use the source shipping address, and I can use that as the billing as well. Otherwise, you can manually enter in the destination address for this for your warehouse or where you're having it shipped to. Just nice little easy feature here to select that and quickly enter that information. Now we kind of have the framework for this cross-dock PO created. We will want to add our essential single order POs to this so we can group them all together. So this is especially useful maybe every other day or every day at the end of the day. You go through your orders and look for any ones that you know you want to cross stock, and you can link them all together on one bigger cross stock order. So that way they're all being shipped out at the same time to your warehouse. So to do that, let's click Add PO here. You can see the unprocessed POs associated with the from source. So since I have CWR selected up here, I'm going to see my CWR sources down at the bottom. So let's go ahead and check these off. And when you do that, we'll go to Actions and Select, and then that adds these individual POs here. You can also clear it off. Maybe I didn't want to select this one for whatever reason. You can delete it off. And if I want to add one back, you can come back in here and add it. So now once all these POs are added to the cross-stock PO, if we scroll down here, it's going to show you essentially an aggregated combination of all the items here. So all the items from these individual POs will be added to this cross-stock PO item here. And if all this looks good and you're satisfied with it, you can actually come down here and click the Save and Generate PO. And this is going to create your cross-stock PO. So we'll give this a second to update. While this is loading, does anyone have any questions so far on this process? If so, feel free to post them in the QA section there. So here, the cross-stock PO has been generated, and we can see these the from POs here. These are the individual POs that we added. You can also kind of see it has a cross-stock status on them. And if we go down all the way to the bottom, we can see this full cross-stock PO section here. So this is the aggregate of all the individual POs that we just added. And when I'm ready and want to get this this order processed off for fulfillment to ship out to my warehouse, the final step is to actually process this cross-stock PO. So all you want to do is come down to the Actions button and click Process. And then once that happens, whenever the next send PO job happens for that source, this cross-stock PO will be actioned and submitted in that process. So if you have that set up on a certain schedule, whenever that schedule runs again, it'll pick this one up and submit it out to them. Or you can go to that source and manually run the send PO job to get that out. Either way, it will work fine here. If we come down here, you can see now this PO is in a processing status. And then as usual, if any tracking information updates from the supplier, this will get added here in the fulfillment section. And if we go back out to our main orders page and look at any of these orders that we cross-stocked, we can see the PO fulfillment on this individual order is now showing as cross-stocked. So what will happen here, now that we have the cross-stock PO processed and sent to the supplier, let's pretend it's been a few days, I get that order into my warehouse. My team's gonna repack it if that's what I'm doing, or they're gonna slap that international shipping label on it and to get that shipped out to the end customer. So what you'll wanna do is update the tracking information for that end order, right? Since it's now starting at your warehouse and sending out to the customer, whenever you're generating that shipping label and getting that tracking information, you can come into the individual order here and manually add that fulfillment information to get that to update. So your end customer gets their tracking number and can estimate the arrival time based on that. So that's the main process for going through a cross-stock PO. Does anyone have any questions on that process? Going through that, manually creating the cross-stock PO or selecting the source POs to add to that? right, no questions so far. All right, so let's look at some common rules here to make things a little bit easier, because let's say that you already have your suppliers set up. They're set to auto process. You're auto generating POs. So a lot of your orders are already flying through the system. So if you remember, the order, or essentially the PO that we're going to be selecting and adding to a cross-dock PO, can't be processed. It has to be an unprocessed PO, right? So if you have everything set up to auto generate and auto process, those orders are going to go through before you have a chance to capture those. So something we can do is put some rules around that, so that way those orders aren't going to auto process if you know there's certain criteria that you're looking for cross-docked orders. So what we want to go to is our settings page and look at our order importing workflows here. So I already have a rule set up here where I know there's a few brands for my suppliers that I know I want to cross-stock. This could be a brand rule, or if you're doing international shipping, you can put, maybe something like the order shipping country code does not equal US or USA, to kind of capture any of those international orders or whatever criteria you're looking at to hold those as a cross-dock order. Then what we can do is add a note on here that essentially says cross-dock. So this would be the first step of putting a rule around that. And then what we would do is on our sources that we know we don't want to auto process these two, we would come into our PO strategies here, and we would set a cross-dock rule here. So you can see this supplier is set to auto process, but if I come down to the bottom and create a workflow that looks for that cross-dock note, we're going to change the PO status for this source to unprocessed. So that's a way, if you know there's going to be some orders that are auto processing, but there's going to be some with certain criteria that you want to hold for cross-docking. This is a way to get around one of those cross-dock orders from potentially being processed already, so it wouldn't be available for cross-docking. So this is very useful. Again, this is the final rule, but where the bulk of the flexibility comes in is on this order import rule and adding this note. So you can basically add any criteria here as well. And even maybe you just know a handful of SKUs, or there's a larger list of SKUs. You can use custom fields on those products within Flxpoint and use that as one of the flags here to trigger it as a cross-dock order. So this is just a really useful way to really fine-tune the system and get to where you need to be to really fully use cross-docking, and then also allow other orders to auto-process and go through, and cuts down on a lot of that manual work. If you're a team or if you're a solo owner, cuts down on a lot of that time, so you can focus on marketing and selling your items. Any questions so far? Any use cases that I potentially didn't cover there that might make sense for you guys? Awesome. And then now, if there's any other general Flxpoint questions or anything on the whole process here of cross-docking, definitely post them in there so we can knock those out for you and take a look at anything else. So I'll give you a few minutes. If anyone has any questions, on cross-docking or on Flxpoint in general, definitely post them in the chat and we'll get to them for you. All right, we had a question come in. I don't know if anyone was on last week's webinar. We were going over bundles in Flxpoint, And I mentioned there was going to be a bulk way to do bundles coming out soon, and that has actually been released as well. Someone was asking about that bulk process here in the chat. So there is the possibility now to upload bundles in bulk instead of going through that UI. So I'll show that really quick here. So similar process in your product catalog, you'll want to go to actions. And then now we have import bundles, which is the new bulk upload. And then this was the original, just creating a new bundle individually here. So if you go to the import bundles, just like our product customizations or any of these import processes, you'll have a mapping template. And if we take a look at this here, we have our bundle component mapping fields, so up to 3 components on each bundle. And then we have our product bundle parent. So this is going to be the created bundle SKU. And then you can add your brand and category information to those, descriptions, titles, images. Then you have your individual bundle variants. So it's the individual bundle packages, essentially based on the combination of options that you can create with those items. So again, you have that SKU that you'll create here, and any other data points that you feel value in mapping in, you can definitely do that. So I kind of have a sample upload file here that I'll show you really quick. This doesn't have all the mapped fields on it, but this is what I feel is a pretty good general all-around product that you can build here. So again, I've got my parent SKU, which is going to be a gun bundle here. I have the title for it. I can add my description, my categories, and then what my individual bundle SKUs are going to look like, those titles. And then I have my 3 components to those bundles. So I'm going to add the component SKU. So this is the actual SKU that's going to be coming in from the product catalog here. So it's going to be the product that's getting added into the bundle. And then you have your drop-down option name for it. So if this is going to be, for this case, it's a site that's part of my bundle. And then it's a true glow green yellow site. So this is the option value. And then I'm including one of these. So this column is our component option quantity. So if I want to include 2 of these sites, I would just have this say 2 here instead of 1. And then again, my second component is a holster. So I've got my component SKU there, my holster name. It's a right-hand holster option and a single one of those. And then I have my final one, including a target. I have my option value name and quantity there. So this is just essentially a 2 package bundle on this page. And essentially just like any other mapping, you'd map those column headers here and run the upload on the bulk bundle import. So I'd upload that file here. It's a CSV file, so I can leave these settings as is. And then you just run that product bundle upload, and within a few minutes, you'll have all those bundles created in Flxpoint. So this is a pretty useful way if you have quite a few bundles that you want to build and you know all the data that you're going to be adding to those. You can use this bulk upload option instead of the individual UI going through it to save a little bit of time there. And also, while we've got a little bit of time, I want to show some cool new features that we've just released. So one, I don't know if anyone has seen this yet, but we have a new status bar whenever you're going through either building from source inventory to product catalog or product catalog to channel listings. When we go through this and we run the listing, we're gonna have a progress bar here that shows up. So it tells you right now, job starting soon. That essentially means it's sitting on our servers, waiting to get picked up to run. And then once it starts running, it's going to give you a progress bar, let you know how many it's gone through and the percentage of the progress that it's completed at that point. Very soon we'll be actually adding these to our source jobs, so that way you can get a good reference on where it's at in the run and potentially how much is left to go on that. If you really like diving into those details, this will all be very abundant there for you going forward, which is pretty cool. went over the bulk bundle feature. Yeah, so I think that's about it for today's webinar. Really appreciate everyone joining. As always, this will get posted within the next few days on our YouTube channel. Definitely check out our upcoming ones. I think we have one coming up next week that's going to be on owned inventory and stock replenishment in Flxpoint, which will be really cool. And again, any general questions you have on Flxpoint, always reach out to our support team. They'll be there to help you out or schedule a support call with our team. A lot of times you'll hop on with me or one of our other good team members here to help you out and get any questions answered for you. So I really appreciate you all joining us today. Hope you have a good rest of your day and week, and we'll see you next week.